Hello and a warm welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Ifoma Ojinta. All is now set for the US-Africa Leaders Summit in Washington, D.C. President Muhammadu Buhari, who arrived on Sunday, convened a strategic meeting with key members of his delegation on the high-level event. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the details.
The strategic meeting was attended by, amongst others, his Chief of Staff, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, the governors of Bauchi and Kwara States, 6 members of the Federal Executive Council, Nigeria's ambassador to the United States, and permanent representatives to the United Nations, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, the National Security Advisor, and Director General of the National Intelligence Agency. The participants took turns to brief the president on areas of interest for Nigeria at the 3-day summit convened by President Joe Biden to demonstrate his administration's commitment to Africa. Questions were asked while observations and suggestions were made on how best Nigeria can drive maximum benefit from the enhanced US-Africa cooperation and shared vision for the future. The president and members of his delegation also discussed the US-Nigeria Business and Investment Forum to be hosted by the country on the margins of the summit. President Buhari is also expected to hold bilateral talks with other world leaders and heads of various international organizations. From Washington, D.C., Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, all attention are on Africa with the ongoing US-Africa Leaders Summit in Washington, D.C. The US government, which hosts the summit, says it is impossible to meet the world's defining challenges without Africa's contribution and leadership. Uche Ugochukwu is on a fact-finding mission on what's the continent and, of course, Nigeria stands to benefit from this summit.
Relations between the US and Africa have gone through at least 3 major phases: the Cold War, the transitional period from 1990 to 1998, and the post-1998 period. However, America has been keen to rebuild partnerships in the region and to collaborate in areas including trade, health, security, climate change, innovation and peace, which brought about the need for US-Africa Leaders Summits over the years.
You will easily discover the limitless opportunities that exist on the continent, from the ingenuity of the youth population to the critical minerals necessary to power our future through technologies, to the burgeoning private sector industry that could create opportunities for millions across the globe.
The first US-Africa Leaders Summit was held 8 years ago under President Obama's administration. 2022's edition of the summit is coming as China increases its investment in Africa. The summit, at the instance of US President Joe Biden, is expected to build on what the US describes as shared values to foster new economic engagements, advance peace, security and good governance, reinforce commitment to democracy, human rights and civil society.
Africa has a lot of things to give to the world, including the US. They have the resources, the raw material they need, the US need. Just like Africa also needs the final products or whatever that is industrial technology from the US.
The US is expected to back exports for the African Union in the Group of 20, including support to Africa's case for a permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. The US government has helped close to more than 800 two-way trade and investment deals across 45 African countries.
We have issues of desertification in the northern fringes with the Niger, around Niger Republic, around Kano axis, around Bruno, the lake is drying up, the Boko Haram crisis and all this. The US have a lot of role to play especially in intelligence sharing, especially in taking care of the internally displaced persons and so on. Nigeria can also benefit from this summit in the area of relaxing some of the policies that will enhance export of Nigerian agricultural products to the U.S.
From December 13 to 15, President Joe Biden will host around 50 heads of states and senior leaders from across the African continent. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
And away from the US-Africa summit, a new hydro power plant with the capacity to generate 1,650 megawatts of electricity is to be built in Makurdi, Benue State. Joshua Ojito reports that the federal government is constructing the hydro dam under the public-private partnership arrangements.
A cheering news for the Nigeria electricity supply industry, as the biggest hydropower plant in West Africa is to be built in Abinsi, Makurdi, Benue State. Project steering committee has been inaugurated with Minister of Power Abubakar Aliyu as chairman and Minister of Water Resources Suleiman Adamu serving as co-chairman, while Director General Bureau of Public Enterprises is the vice chairman of the committee. Ensuring the takeoff and development of the project is part of the committee's mandate.
This administration has done a lot in encouraging robust energy mix in the country, especially in line with energy transition drive and the carbon neutrality by 2060.
We have already another company also looking at Lokoja. It's about 700 megawatts. We have some OBCs lined up for ETC, for Kaduna. These are mini hydros, 30, 40 megawatts.
Representatives from Plateau, Nasarawa, Benue and Taraba states also form membership of the committee. Joshua Ojito.
Senate is considering a bill that seeks to enhance the neutrality and professionalism of the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports that the bill, which has passed second reading, seeks to subject the removal of the Commission's chairman to the confirmation of the Senate.
While the President appoints chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, subject to the confirmation of the Senate does not have a say in the termination of the same appointment. Senate, in its wisdom, is putting a law in place to empower it approve or disapprove the removal of the chairman. Senator Chukwuka Otazi is the sponsor.
The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, and Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, the National Assembly ensured that the headship had security of tenure by ensuring that their appointments and removal, as the case may be, were subject to the confirmation of the Senate. That was not the case with the EFCC.
There were divergent views on the proposal that appointment of the chairman should only come from within the commission.
Appointing the headship of an agency like EFCC from outside the EFCC, it will lower the morale of the serving officers of EFCC.
But when you leave that one and go and bring somebody from outside the commission, the person has to come in and then learn the tutelage of the work that will take him some more time to understand.
Not have somebody that may be as sharp as the current chairman of EFCC to take over from him when he's leaving. So in that situation, we may be limiting ourselves because of this amendment.
While picking from inside, we should know it's a political appointment at that point, because it will come down to who is the most senior. People will argue. But that kind of appointment is not who is most senior. It's not career.
Senate passed the Federal Universities of Agriculture and Education in Dambata and Bichi, Kano State Establishment Bills, sponsored by Senator Jibrin Barau, and that of the Federal College of Agriculture, Obiaja, Edo State, by Senator Clifford Odia. Senate has passed 559.8 billion naira 2023 budget of the Nigerian Communications Commission and 16 billion as 2023 budget of the Universal Service Provision Fund. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
In the meantime, the House of Representatives has expressed concern over what it describes as lingering artificial fuel scarcity in the country. A motion from Representative Seidu Musa made reference to intelligence on the current fuel scarcity, which states that there is a deliberate plan by some oil marketers to derail government's efforts at distributing fuel as the hot petroleum product to create scarcity. The House observed that some independent marketers are now selling at unregulated prices, with some dispensing at more than 300 naira per litre. The lawmakers therefore called on Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission to collaborate with security operatives and ensure the sale of fuel at approved price. And our first stop on Nationwide today is Lagos. Adiola is our guide. Over to you, Diola.
Thank you, Ifoma. The Federal Ministry of Works has opened part of a Lagos-Ibadan expressway to motorists. Annie Daniels reports that the Director Highways Southwest Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, Adedamola Kuti, and heads of sister agencies were all present.
Lagos-Ibadan Expressway has been characterized by heavy vehicular traffic owing to repair works going on in that axis. The hardship on motorists and other road users can better be imagined than experienced, even as people spend long hours in traffic before getting to their destinations, leading to lots of time and man hours.
Yeah, I spent almost 5 hours on this road from 7:30 till 1 o'clock in the morning.
However, motorists and other road users of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway can now heave a sigh of relief as the Director Highways Southwest Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, Adedamola Kuti, opens up the roads to allow for free movement during the festive period.
So rather than waiting till Thursday, 15th of December, just as we did at the other section from the old toll gate up to Otedola Bridge, which we opened for traffic last week, we've also completed this stretch up to a level where we can allow movement. On Thursday, we shall open and release all barriers on section 2 as well.
We will continue to ensure safety of lives and property.
The roads will remain opened until after the New Year holidays, when works will resume.
All we have to do is just to ensure that there's free movement for the motoring public.
What we observe from the motoring public, once the road is clear, free flow of traffic, they abuse the speed.
Director Highways Southwest, Federal Ministry of Works and Housing says the project is still ongoing due to unforeseen circumstances, but promised that it will be completed by first quarter of 2023. Motorists are advised to ensure they abide by the stipulated speed limit as well as all traffic rules and regulations. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC's resolve to curb the menace of importation, sales, and distribution of counterfeit fake products in the country is yielding positive results as the agency seized a warehouse load of potassium bromate in Akbongbon area of Lagos. The acting Director General of the agency, Monica Emunjeze, told newsmen in Lagos that the street value of the seized product is more than 28 million naira.
According to the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, potassium bromate is a banned flour improver globally, as it has been known to be an agent causing cancer. It is also attributed to cause kidney failure, among other ailments. The acting Director General of the agency, Monica Emunjeze, told newsmen that acting on intelligence, NAFDAC officers on the 7th of December this year raided a warehouse located at Akpogbo area of Lagos Island, where they found 150,000 cartons of potassium bromate tablets. Also found in the warehouse were counterfeit EDC, bread improver, packed in sachets with fake NAFDAC registration number, worth 300,000 naira. Further stated that the importer of the product has been arrested. In another development, the agency has arrested 2 suspected importers of 400 cartons of counterfeit Super Delicia cooking margarine imported from Dubai. The suspects, however, have admitted distributing the product to markets across the country.
We'll be looking very, very closely
at these products. We will be randomly sampling these products and we'll be testing these products. So just a note of caution to those who are involved in using this product without a thought to the impact it has on health.
NAFDAC says it's determined to rid the country of unwholesome products that are generally harmful to the body. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
We're done from Lagos. Do not forget that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on the screen for updates. Nationwide continues and just with Felicia after this time out to stay with us.
Health matters, as Plateau State government is committed to ensuring its drive towards attaining and sustaining universal health care coverage to meet the health needs of citizens. Governor Simon Lalong stated this at the inauguration of a modeled primary health care center in Hambia village, Shandam local government area of the state. Prisla Grumnan reports.
The Modeled Primary Health Care Center, which is an offshoot of the Saving 1 Million Lives program for Resolve, geared towards achieving universal health coverage, is being inaugurated to provide access to quality and affordable health care services to people of the Southern Zone. The facility will serve as a snakebite management center, making it the second in the zone. The distribution of the access cards to 100 indigent members of the community by Governor Simon Lalong is to enable them enjoy free health care services from the facility.
I'm the happiest man.
We are grateful to government for opening this health facility.
Our hearts are filled with joy for this gesture. The governor expresses his administration's resolve to continue to invest huge resources towards strengthening the health sector across the state.
It's my firm belief that with the commencement of operation in this facility, great gain will be made in housing and advancing some of the core health industries in the state.
Commissioner for Health, Executive Secretary, Primary Health Education Board, and Director General, Plateau State Health Management Agency commend Plateau State government for placing priority on the health care needs of its citizens. In Jos, Priscilla Grumna.
Away from health to education, Governor Simon Lalong says the attention given to education sector is as a result of its role in the speedy development of a nation. The governor was speaking at the maiden convocation of the Plateau State College of Agriculture, Garkawa, Mikang local government area. Prisla Grumnan again reports.
This convocation ceremony will go down history as the first to hold after the establishment of the Plateau State College of Agriculture, Garkawa, 21 years ago. More than 4,000 graduates who passed through various departments from the institution from inception to date are here to receive their award of diplomas in the fields of agric engineering technology, agric management, and animal basic science.
It's a privilege to have such a day in our lives.
The school really, in fact, was able to extend my knowledge to a lot of people within and outside Nigeria.
Governor Simon Lalong says, realizing the comparative advantage of the state, his government moved swiftly to implement the development plan in key areas of agriculture, mining, and tourism. He therefore charges the youth to leverage on these advantages from a perspective of research-based knowledge.
As the Plateau State College of Agriculture plays a very important role of producing the skilled manpower that will interface with farmers and train them on modern farming techniques which give more value. Our rescue administration has done a lot to improve the capacity of our farmers.
23 graduates were awarded prizes for academic excellence in various courses.
And that's it from Jos. It's back to Ifoma in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Thank you, Felicia. Let's talk politics now. eligible voters in the Northwest have been asked to obtain their permanent voter cards as the only strong weapon to support the ruling All Progressives Congress to retain power at all levels. The party's presidential candidate, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, said voting APC again is tacit endorsement of continued economic prosperity, social well-being and political emancipation. Umar Ajingi reports that Bola Ahmed Tinubu was speaking at the Northwest mega rally of the party in Kaduna.
Modu Bello Stadium, Kaduna, was at the brink as APC supporters from 7 states in the Northwest plunged the arena in show of solidarity to the party's presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The APC presidential candidate, alongside other candidates and governors in the Northwest, joined in unveiling the campaign manifestos. While addressing the crowd, Bola Tinubu stressed the need for the party to retain power at all levels. He said for the past 7 years in power, APC has provided the needed ingredients for future economic growth. The national chairman of the party, Abdullahi Adamu, noted that APC remains a political party with a clear-cut manifesto of national interests. He urged eligible voters in the country to re-elect the party in all elections. Other speakers call on party supporters to move into the hard-to-reach areas and mobilize support for the party. In Kaduna, Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
Presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was at the palace of Emir of Benue to sympathize with the Emirates over insecurity issues in the area and pledged to work assiduously in addressing security challenges in the country if elected president. Again, Umar Ajingi reports.
This is the first time in the history of Benue Emirate to host a presidential candidate under this dispensation. The visit was symbolic to both the guest and the host. It afforded the APC presidential candidate to have a first-hand information on the nature of security problems around Benue and its surroundings. The entourage led by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu in company of his running mate and governors described their visit to the area as a solidarity and show of concern to their plight.
We not relent in an effort to eliminate banditry and violence in it. I assure you we are priority.
As far as I can recollect, Your Highness, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the only presidential candidate to ever come here for campaign. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he didn't come to campaign. He came because he's concerned about what he has read about insecurity in Benue Emirate.
Appreciating the visit, the Emir of Benue, Very Jibril Megwari II, conferred traditional titles on APC presidential candidate as Dakaran Benue and Governor Nasru Ahmed El-Rufai as Sadokin Benue. In Kaduna, Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
The National Council of Traditional Rulers is mapping out strategies to ensure heat-free election and population census come 2023. Chimdima Ndobisi reports that this is at its 13th general meeting in Abuja.
The custodians of divergent ancient thrones and kingdoms across Nigeria under one roof at the seat of power on a matter of national importance, the 2023 general elections as well as population and housing census coming up in 2023. A quick reminder of roles expected of them to play for successful conduct of the dual national assignments.
We shouldn't take sides of any political aspiration or affiliation. Let us talk to our subjects for political gladiators not to use them.
Only what he said, I'm totally in agreement with him. I want to use the opportunity to thank Mr. President for bringing back history into the curriculum of our institution.
Already, the Royal Fathers have struck a symphonic chord with the National Population Commission during the enumeration, area demarcation and trial census exercises.
Supported the Commission in sensitizing their subjects and urging them to cooperate with our staff.
The monarchs, however, want to know how prepared the electoral umpire, INEC, is with the expansion of polling units.
Whoever wins should win transparently. That is why INEC comes in. So INEC, please do your job. The Almighty leaders, providing take completely complete delivery of that. With all this, we are ready. But of course, we also have our challenges. State security, attacking our facility.
The federal government tasked the traditional rulers to continue in their duty as the link between government and the grassroots.
There is the trust deficit between the people and those that govern them. I urge the traditional rulers to promote peace in their communities and chiefdoms in order to ensure a successful conduct of the forthcoming general elections as well as the national population census.
In one voice, they are assured of peace in their domains. In Abuja, Chimdema Ndubisi, NTA News.
It's now time to join Kemi in Ibadan for more on Nationwide. Hello, Kemi.
Ibadan, thank you, Ifoma. A 4-day conference for the police public relations officers across the nation has commenced in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Grace Ayonleke reports that a conference with the theme Strengthening Strategic Communication Towards Police Reforms, Security and Integrity of 2023 Elections is aimed at equipping the officers with tools necessary in changing the perception of the police among the populace.
The Conference of Police Public Relations Officers, PPROs, tagged Ibadan 2022, saw the capacity building of police image makers on ways to communicate effectively to improve the people's confidence in the Nigerian police, especially as the nation is gearing towards the electioneering process.
All the members of the public, how strategically in communicating what you have seen. You have always said, if you see something, you say something.
We are going to draw an action plan that the police will use for reform that will help us in managing the security of this country efficiently.
We started with looking at training the police to be able to change their mindset from what they are used to before to a new way of policing.
At a time when fake news is a major cause of civil unrest, the Minister of Information, Arts and Culture, Lai Muhammad, charged the police image makers to be better information managers as he declared the conference open.
To be circumspect as they collate information and communicate, taking into cognizance our national unity and security.
In recognition of their commitments to duty, 7 PPROs, including that of the Oyo State Command, were duly commended by the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, in Ibadan. Grace Ayonleke, NTA News.
The use of water for domestic, commercial and agricultural purposes is pivotal for environmental development and irrigated agriculture. This was the focus of the federal government during a sensitization engagement for women and youths towards provision of quality water for the nation, held at the Middle Ogun Irrigation Project in Iseyin, Oyo State. Claudio Ladoshu has the details.
Centered the subject of discussion on the important nature of water to the society and its hugely used for different purposes, the interactive session aimed to enlighten women and the youths on the need to adopt appropriate and safe practices on waterways and at the riverbank meant for irrigated agriculture. The Federal Ministry of Water Resources in this campaign posits that to promote a sustainable and managed irrigated agriculture, quality of water used is essential for quality crops, maintenance of soil productivity, and the protection of the environment.
If the water is polluted, it has negative impact on health. So we want people to do their cropping with confidence on the quality of crops that will be produced, and by extension also for their own living.
Applauding the federal government initiative on the use of quality water for domestic, commercial and agricultural development, participants made it known that the sensitization engagement is at the right time.
Most of the farmers, what we like most is that when it's off season, most of us don't go for farming because we stop farming because of the irrigation. But with this irrigation stop now, I think we'll be able to farm all the year around.
They are cancelling us how to use it. We will work on it.
It was the consensus at the gathering that water users should desist from inappropriate practices when using water for different purposes. From Iseyin, Kayode Oladosu, NTA News.
That's it from Ibadan. Do stay for more reports from Sokoto with Nana after the break.
Thanks for staying tuned. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed says former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who is the presidential candidate of the opposition, People's Democratic Party, should refrain from blaming the President Muhammadu Buhari administration for the existence of Boko Haram. The minister made this statement during his remarks at the ongoing PMB Scorecard 2015 to 2023 series in Abuja. Anthony Forsen reports.
Quickly react to the statement credited.
We're sorry about the freezing picture in that report. We hope to bring it to you subsequently. Now, rape and other forms of gender-based violence are crimes which have been with mankind for many generations due to its dehumanizing nature. The Federal Ministry of Justice is training investigators and prosecutors of crimes in Nigeria on how they can effectively investigate and bring perpetrators of sexual and gender-based violence to book. Olabode Arewa reports.
Sexual harassment. Once consent is withdrawn, then that means she has said no. And at that point, you must have to put a stop to whatever you are doing with her.
This is Rosemary Igboyin, one of the investigators routinely involved in facilitating access to justice for victims of rape. She says ensuring substantial justice for rape victims is an uphill task for law enforcement agencies. This is the state of affairs which the Federal Ministry of Justice and its partners seek to change through the rule of law on the prosecution of sexual offenders.
The objectives of this law are to eliminate violence in private and public life, prohibit all forms of violence, including physical, sexual, psychological, domestic, harmful traditional practices.
You must, while investigating or prosecuting, make sure you also respect the right of the survivor.
At this workshop, also attended by the Women Affairs Minister Pauline Tallen, the grim statistics of 11,053 prosecuted offenders and just 33 convictions speak volume.
At least 1 in every 3 Nigerian females have experienced one form of violence or the other before the age of 18.
Currently, 34 states have domesticated the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, an advocacy zone for them to provide safe spaces to protect victims of rape. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
Sokoto is next on our lineup and Nana is standing by. Hello, Nana.
And good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us here in Sokoto. Governor Aminu Tambol says his administration will continue to give emphasis on producing graduates with marketable skills towards self-reliance in the state. Alhatu Abdullahi reports that Tambol made the remarks at a graduation ceremony of 1,700 youths trained in various vocational skills in Sokoto.
The 1,700 graduates comprised of 550 females and 1,150 males drawn from the 23 local government areas of Sokoto State. They are trained on tailoring, knitting, carpentry, plumbing, mason, and catering, among others. Presenting packs of tools to the beneficiaries, marking the completion of the training, Governor Aminu Tambol stated that each will be given a soft loan of 250,000 naira to start business in his or her chosen trade. The trainees are expected to take advantage of the gesture aimed at making them self-reliant.
Our government will continue to lead in the area of human capital development and empowerment with the goal of ending poverty. This goal is being met through the creation of opportunities for the good citizens of the state to become economically self-sufficient.
Special Advisor on Sustainable Development Goals, Kabiru Aliyu, said the state government had from 2019 to date expended about 5 billion naira on programs under the SDGs. The emphasis, according to him, focused on SDG 1, 2, and 8, dealing with infrastructural development, social protection, and response to challenges of climate change, including projects under education, healthcare, sanitation, and water supply. He noted that the projects include construction of 128 schools, 23 primary healthcare centers, and 38 motorized boreholes, among others. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Nigeria and the Niger Republic have reiterated commitment to synergize for peace and security of the two countries. This was the position reached at a diplomatic meeting between the two neighboring communities of Arewa local government in Nigeria and the Ejidio, Niger Republic. Ibrahim Hamidu has more.
The communities, though separated by international boundaries, have many dispositions in common, notably culture, religion, and of recent security challenges. The engagement with participants from Arewa local government in Kebbi State, Nigeria, deliberated extensively on security, illegal cross-border trade, economic integration, and social cohesion, among others. Presiding the meeting, the Secretary to the State Government of Doso, Aziz Halilu, applauded the two local governments for the initiative, describing the synergy as the only alternative to tackle the current insecurity bedeviling the West African sub-region.
Also to discuss the security issue, because we must not forget that we both border the region. This is a region that has confronted a few years ago this major criterion challenge.
Arewa local government Sani Aliu Kulita and his counterpart from Jinju, Garbamanu, comment on the high-level engagement.
All the security agencies, for instance, two neighboring countries, should come together and discuss how we can further face and work on the security challenges.
Our desire and hope is for a lasting peaceful coexistence between the bordering communities.
Other stakeholders at the event expressed happiness on what they described as open discussion, which will undoubtedly address the challenges of the border communities, urging the public to monitor their surroundings. The meeting was attended by security agents, traders association, and other civil society organizations. Highlight of the visit was traditional wrestling between Nigerians and Nigerians to showcase a social cohesion between the two neighboring areas. From Jinju, Niger Republic, Ibrahim Hamidu, NTA News.
Well, that's the size of our news package from Sokoto here. Nationwide continues in Abuja.
Thank you very much, Nana. Now, Baobab, a non-governmental organization, is engaging stakeholders on a high-level consultative forum to raise more advocacy among states for achieving domestication of violence against persons Prohibition Act and the Child Rights Act. Kenneth Nanim reports.
Rising cases of violence against women and children seem to have put stakeholders on the search for urgent solution with the existing act as an instrument. And Baobab, amongst other organizations, is taking the lead in sensitizing and pushing for the domestication of the woman and child protection laws in about 17 states, with more in the pipeline.
The law is there to prevent, promote, protect anything that has to be done against the rights of a woman, and also punish offenders or perpetrators of those crimes.
Unless women are safe in their homes, among their family, their rights can never be achieved.
Zamfara, Katsina, Kano, and Lagos states yet to domesticate the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act and Kano, Bauchi and Gombe. Yet, to domesticate the Child Rights Act, the group pointed to religious factor as major reason for non-compliance.
Many of our communities are finding it difficult to accept that we want to protect our children.
After this high-level consultation with political office holders, technocrats, solution-driven approach will be developed for a nationwide compliance. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
The federal government is engaging relevant key actors towards ending farmers-herders conflict in the country. Musa Baba Ali reports that the United Nations Development Programme and the Food Agricultural Organization are helping Nigeria to achieve the target goal.
This is how most parts of northern Nigeria looks like during the dry season. Dry and windy with isolated vegetation. And this region has more than 70% of the country's livestock population. This, therefore, has led to migration to the hinterland for greener pasture. Minister of Agriculture says this movement and other environmental factors are responsible for the conflicts between farmers and herders.
While climate change was not a precursor to the migration of herders to the southern and north central of Nigeria, it has increased their migration from areas with a high frequency of drought and low availability of natural resources to the southern forest zone.
The second issue is the issue of access to justice. In a situation where a whole group of people do not feel that they are getting justice when there is any problem that has to do with the courts, you are in for a long haul.
And here experts in environment and livestock alongside policymakers are seeking solution to farmers-herders conflict.
The president directed that even those who have been affected by conflict, particularly in Mambila, in Plateau, in Benue, should be supported. Not only farmers, but fishing communities and those in the animal husbandry. I think that is a very noble innovation.
FCT, to some extent, is able to cope to BRS minimum. Farmers had its clashes. We are beginning to have relative peace amongst the duo.
Although there are no statistics to quantify how much Nigeria loses annually to herders-farmers conflict, it is, however, estimated that the loss is more than 5 trillion naira. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
12th of December every year has been proposed by the Nigerian Prize for Leadership as National Leadership Day in Nigeria. This was put forward by the Chairman NPL Governing Board, Professor Anya O. Anya, at the investiture of Professor Suleiman Bogoro as the first NPL Prize winner 2021. Haman Jabani reports that the investiture comes with a 25 million naira prize, among other things.
Professor Bogoro has been announced as the winner of the Nigerian Prize for Leadership 2021. What is left is the decoration and all the other things that go with it. Unfortunately, it's not here. We will have to organize a different location because it must be in person.
This was what played out in 2021 and 2022. The winner, Professor Suleiman Bogoro, has been honored.
With majority set men and women, youth as well as political, professional, community and religious leaders, we can collectively change the narrative and direct our country, Nigeria and Africa.
The Nigerian Prize for Leadership is a product of the vision and commitment of some eminent Nigerians determined to chart a new course of deliberate actions aimed at identifying and reinventing a new culture of leadership.
It is our hope that it will grow to be the highest, most valuable, and prestigious leadership prize in Nigeria, short of politics, ethnicity, and religious bias.
We believe that as we continue to do this, to mark this day,
It is something that will raise leadership consciousness in the minds of citizens of Nigeria. So I believe it's a very important call that the chairman governing board has made, that the federal government should declare December 12th of every year as a leadership day in Nigeria.
17 ambassadors MPL were honored fellowship after undergoing a series of projects. The objectives of the Nigerian Prize for Leadership is to institute a credible process of identifying Nigerians who have indeed excelled in their field through outstanding leadership performance relevant to the development of the people and the nation. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
Nigeria's quest for food security is gradually becoming a reality with the full takeoff of another Federal University of Agriculture, this time around in Zuru, Kebbi State. A development observer says would go a long way in re-energizing the agricultural transformation drive to achieve desired goals. Usman Abdullahi Shehu reports.
The ancient Zuru town was agog, this time not for the popular traditional festival but the matriculation of the first set of 500 students admitted, an investiture of the pioneer chancellor of the newly established Federal University of Agriculture, Zuru, Kebbi State. The mission of the university is to be an institutional player in the prototypical agricultural skills acquisition and entrepreneurship, preoccupied with the task of strengthening human and livestock health for effective development of agriculture in the country, in tune with the national drive for food security and sufficiency.
Invite the very best brains that will make this university competitive, that make this university a center of learning, center of entrepreneurship, center of growth for the agricultural sector that we all be proud of.
Count yourself lucky, therefore, that you are also pioneer student of this great institution. You are expected to lead exemplary lives and serve as role models to those who will come after you.
Senator Bala Ibn Allah, the Emir of Zuru, Muhammad Sani Sami, and the University Chancellor, in separate remarks, felicitated with the matriculated students, charging them to shun all manners of malpractice. Usman Abdullahi Shehu, NTA News.
Families of deceased police personnel who died in the line of duty will smile this Christmas season as wife of the Inspector General of Police, Hajara Alkali Baba, received a donation of 1,200 bags of rice from Sir Emeka Ofo Foundation in Abuja. Francis Fom reports.
Law enforcement responsibility is a very challenging task. While the citizens are sleeping, the police are awake to safeguard lives and property. It is another season of Christmas, a season to put smile on the less privileged. And this symbolic presentation to the national president of POA, Hajara Alkali Baba, is to show love to the deceased police families.
Insecurity challenges, and over the time we've lost so many policemen. Their families are left in anguish. If you do not remember them in this season, then what is the essence of Christmas?
About 1,225 kg bags of rice are ready for onward distribution to deceased police families, thanks to Emeka Ofo Foundation.
It's a simple one to share with the people that protect us. Sir Emeka Ofo has come out. He has proved to us that he has the interests of the police officers' wives at heart. If other people can come like that, I think we are going to eradicate poverty.
Wife of the IGP assures that the rice will be distributed to the families with no sharp practices. Francis from NTA News.
And that concludes Nationwide for today. We thank you for always being part of our production. But do remember that you can be a star. Join the NTA in the fight against rape and rapists. Bye for now.